Hi, cheers for checking in. So Schumacher Topcat. So this one is mine, and there is a bit of a story behind this car, which we'll get into in a little bit. But those of you who don't know about the Schumacher Topcat, it was basically released in 1998 under kit number U404J. I've got my little cheat sheet down here because I can't remember absolutely everything. It was Schumacher's first bespoke two-wheel drive car. Before the Topcat, basically the team drivers would take a Schumacher Cat and remove the front diff, drive shafts, maybe a few other little changes, off bits, but basically remove the entire drivetrain from the front, and then hey presto, you've got a two-wheel drive car. Obviously, back when we used to race on actual off-road tracks, not like today's car pit tracks, grip was paramount. So obviously the weight being into the middle of the car wasn't ideal. So basically they just come up with a bespoke two-wheel drive car. This moved everything back over to the back axle, gearbox and motor was right in the back, and then that allowed the back wheels to get nice traction. But yeah, so that's how the Topcat was born. It ran for a few years until 1990, and then that's when Schumacher launched the Cougar, which we have here. So basically, when the Cougar was launched, you could just go out. If you had a Topcat, you could just buy a conversion kit, so it would have everything you needed back in the day to convert the front end. So it was pretty much the entire front end minus the shocks. The shocks that are in your Topcat would work, or you could just go out, buy a whole new Cougar. So you may have come across, if you've been getting second-hand Cougars, or you'll have seen Cougars, and then on the rear motor guard, on the original Topcat, it actually had Topcat on there. Obviously some of the very first Cougars may have come with that. I don't know 100% sure. I'm pretty sure some of them would have done. It would have been a run out phase. But yeah, so it did have some good success. It won the 1989 European Championships with Jamie Booth at the controls. It won the British Nationals, and it also made it into the A finals in the Worlds. So overall, for your first proper two-wheel drive car, it was very good. Obviously, those of you that know the car, you'll know about the crashback system. Those of you that have maybe never seen it, obviously the Cougar doesn't employ it, so if you hit something on there, you could break something. I mean, I've had some horrific front enders, and I've never broken any front arms or anything on the Cougar. Not to say that it won't happen. Your four-wheel drive cars, they were probably a little bit more delicate back in the day, so you had the crashback system. So if you hit anything, the front would come back, and that would hopefully stop you from breaking anything, allowing you to carry on the racing. It was something that Cecil wanted to do. He wanted to get away with the front upright shock towers because he basically just didn't like the look of it, and he managed to get everything in the front with the crashback system, lay down shocks. So again, your Topcat, you've got the crashback system on there, nice front end, you don't have the shock tower poking through. So if we get the top off, so basically you can see all inboard, rocker activated. So as the front goes up, you've got your pivot there, and that allows it to go through. But yeah, even with the crashback, so you could get away with quite a lot back in the day with one of these. But yeah, so this car The story behind it, basically, the very first car I got when I got back into vintage racing was an XLS. It was a car that I liked. I wasn't overly concerned about the Topcat. I eventually did get a Topcat because why would I not? And never really used it. So I moved that on, got rid of it. I was mainly running the Cougars, and this is pretty much the Cougar that I've been running. Triggers broom. Those of you that know the car will know that this is pretty much everything on it now has been replaced with new impact, old new impact parts or bits from the Re. So I wanted another Topcat in the collection. Managed to find one, and it was just at the point where they discontinued and prices were starting to go stupid. So I got lucky, sat there, and after a couple of months, one of the lads at our club that wanted to get into the vintage racing was pestering me, wanting to buy it. So we did a deal. I sold it, and it was basically, if he's ever going to sell it, I get first dibs. So he had it for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. He ran this at the Lakeland Classic last year, and I lent him my XLS to run, and lo and behold, he bought trophies on me both of them. So he did all right with it. And then once the Cougar come out, I managed to sweet talk him into selling me this back, and that allowed him to purchase his brand new Cougar, and I got this back. So got the Lakeland Classic coming up at the start of July, and I went and entered him with the Topcat and the XLS, hence why they now have matching shells. It's something that I've just started doing, I think, going for the matching shells as and where you can, especially if it's the same age group that I'm in. So it's going to be the first time I've ever run this. I run it once at the club, and I was having issues with the steering, so I've pulled it all apart, rebuilt it. I couldn't see anything that I'd done wrong. This was in the wrong place. I've moved that, and it now seems to steer. But whereas before it drove nice, went round left-handers, right-handers, not so much. So we've got one more club meeting where this will get a little outing, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we do all right with this, and we do all right with the XLS at the Lakeland Classic. But there'll be a full video on that later at the time. So like I say, that's not until the start of July. So it'll probably be mid-July, end of July, that I actually get a video out. But that's it. That's how she's going to go out on the track. Obviously, tyres may change. These are mini spikes on the back. They're just, well, it's sat there on the shelf. XR10 Pro ESC Futaba receiver, Savox low profile servo, hobby wing 10.5 in the back. Mod wise, got the brass weight, it's got the narrow conversion kit on the front, and those of you that know the Topcat will know where your suspension arm comes up to push, it can sometimes get jammed underneath. I've seen it on this. So basically you see the car coming down the track, and one of the front wheels, whichever one's got stuck, will just be cocked up in the air. The alloy rocker conversion gets rid of that. Brilliant. However, cannot find it for love nor money. I've seen it going on eBay for some stupid prices. I'm not going to pay that for them. And ideally, I wanted it to be as good as it could. So James Hodgson, his name's, you've probably heard me say his name before. He does a lot of vintage aftermarket parts, especially for the Schumachers, not mainly, but especially for the Schumachers. And he's come up with a rocker plate that basically now fixes on with a ball joint at both ends. So that is now fixed. So as the front wheel comes down, it's coming down with the suspension. Obviously this was never a fixed point. It would push up, and then as the suspension would, as the shock would compress back down, the wheel could just come down on its own accord before the shock had even fully come out. So it just gave a little bit of a funny feeling on the front end, but these have held up. I don't know if it's a part that he's going to be getting more of and selling, but if any of you are interested in a set of these, give me a shout. I can only ask him if there's a few people that are after something, because I know a lot of people, they can't get all of the rocker conversion, and like I say, this has been used. It works. I know it works. It's held up to everything. It's not to say that it will stand up to absolutely everything, but if you're looking at something to get around the shocker conversion, there are other options out there, but this is the one that I know it works. So yeah, if it's anything that you may feel that your car's going to benefit from, give me a shout. I can only ask James, see if it's something that he'll consider producing or reproducing again, and those that you asked, I can let you know. But that's it. So the next time you see this, we shall be on track at the Lakeland Classic. The car is ready to go, body's done, wing just needs finishing. I just need some decals. Basically the wing will match the XLS one, but yeah, so that's my 2 entries for the Lakeland Classic, and my first time giving the Topcat a proper good run, but looking forward to it. And yeah, I'll let you all know how it goes. But cheers for watching, guys, and catch you next time.